This is the snack industry's legacy of those who made a difference for their companies, their associates, their community, and their industry. There were a lot of individuals responsible for the tremendous growth of the snack industry over the past 8 decades, including pioneering snack producers, inventors, and machinery and packing vendors. To honor the best of the best, the association established the Circle of Honor, a hall of fame for those whose contributions were pivotal in the growth of the industry and association and whose names are permanently represented on a plaque at Snack International headquarters in Arlington, Virginia. With a new inductee selected every 2 years, it is a difficult but prestigious club in which to gain entry. In the past 21 years, 25 individuals have been selected, and today, with the sponsorship of Bryce Corporation, Snack International is proud to present the 26th member of the Circle of Honor. This is his story. Richard King had an accomplished career as the president of Utz for more than 20 years, but he wasn't always in the snack industry. Born in Boston in 1944, he graduated from Millis High School in 1962. He completed his undergraduate degree at Dartmouth and obtained his MBA from Columbia University before attending the Naval Officers School in Newport, Rhode Island. While stationed in Newport, he met his wife, and the two were married within a year. In 1971, Rick, then a lieutenant junior in the U.S. Navy, left the service. Despite his education and experience, finding a job proved to be difficult. His wife, Estelle, remembers her husband's employment struggles.
Things were pretty flat in 1971. And I've kept a letter of rejection that Rick received from the McDonald's Corporation. And the letter specified that Rick was overqualified for the positions.
In late 1971, Rick received a call from his father, president of Hanover Shoe, a highly successful shoe company with stores nationwide. They were developing a new division called the Direct Selling Shoe Division for Hanover Shoe, and he wanted Rick to join the team.
We were thrilled because we hadn't got a job offer by that time. We haven't gotten a job offer. So we packed up. We had a baby girl that was 5 weeks old, and we moved to Hanover. And it was a perfect fit.
Rick began building his career and his family. He and Estelle settled in and raised their children in Hanover. 2 girls he fondly referred to as his darling daughters, whom he treasured dearly. It was also while there that Rick formed an important friendship with Mike Rice, a friendship that would be his introduction to the snack industry. Mike recalls.
Hanover Shoe and Utz had a team in the Industrial Basketball League in town, so we competed there. I have to say the shoe boys were pretty nasty, but we had a lot of fun.
Rick spent several years at Hanover Shoe and was eventually promoted to president of the company, taking over for his father. The company was later acquired by C&J Clark, an English shoe company, and in 1980, Rick became president of C&J Clark Retail of North America. As a result of the acquisition, the company left Hanover, Pennsylvania in 1985, and Rick moved with his family to the company's new headquarters in Chester County, Pennsylvania. This move proved to be challenging.
3 years later, shoe business was, having a lot of angst, offshore manufacturing, so forth and so on.
Around this time, Mike decided to contact Rick to see if he could entice him to work with Utz in the role of overseeing marketing and sales, with the goal to be president and COO in a year. After further discussions, Rick decided to take the position and moved with his family back to Hanover.
It was a cute story. Our daughter was 13, our oldest girl, when we moved to Chester County. And she had been in the same community her whole life, obviously. And she fell down to her father's knees and said, "Daddy, please don't do this to me." And he said, "Honey, it's going to be okay. You'll have a new place, new friends, and wonderful opportunities there." Okay, when she goes along and she falls in love with her high school in Chester County. And 2 years, obviously 2 years later, he says, "Honey, we're going to move back to Hanover." And she falls down on her knees and says, "Daddy, please don't do this to me."
Making the shift from working in the shoe industry to the snack industry seems like quite a leap. But Rick knew that the basic idea of making a good product to sell to consumers applied to either industry. He tapped into the principles of marketing and selling that made him successful in selling shoes to manufacturing and selling snacks. How well did Rick do at Utz? Strengthening the management team, Rick took sales up from $42 million to $314 million between 1985 and 2007. The company went from 70 routes to close to 1,000. In 22 years, the business grew almost 8 times.
Rick was amazingly very bright, but good at detail, and I believe you take care of the little things, a lot of the big things will take care of themselves, but he was always thinking, he did a great job improving our management staff overall over the years, and just very capable.
Rick emphasized quality and service in his strategic vision. Executive Vice President of Utz under Rick, Tom Dempsey, recalls.
Our growth rate in the 90s and 2000s was phenomenal. The growth of Utz in those years were the results of Rick's strategic vision. Our jump into the greater New York City metropolitan area, the movement into New England, were all the results of Rick's strategic vision and understanding of how to implement that vision in those markets.
Rick also believed in treating his employees with respect. This type of leadership is echoed in those who worked with Rick. Described as a reserved man, Rick typically shifted the focus away from himself. Jack Corriere, retired executive of Utz and former Snack International chair, remembers.
He had a unique way of talking with everyone. On mornings he would come to work, he would pass through the sales hallway and would stop and say hello to many of the sales guys. On the manufacturing floor, the same thing would happen. He'd walk down and talk with those people. But it was always asking about them, how they were doing, how their families were. It was never about Rick, it was always about somebody else. And I think people really respected and admired him for that.
He was my boss, my mentor, my friend for over 30 years. It's a pretty tough deal to have those 3 roles in one person, to both be boss, mentor, and a friend.
Rick was also heavily involved in Snack International, which at the time was called the Snack Food Association. Serving as chairman in 1996 and 1997, he brought his analytic mind and financial acumen to bolstering the industry as a whole and ensuring members' dues were being used appropriately. He understood that what was good for the snack industry was ultimately good for Utz.
Rick always looked at the association as something that was vital to the industry. He didn't care about how big or how small you were, but he was more concerned about the industry in a whole and felt that the association was a place that could expand our industry for everyone concerned. And put a lot of effort into that. And knowing Rick, he also streamlined a lot of the financial ends of that to be sure that it was a strong, growing, and had good basis for an association of the future.
Unfortunately, Rick King passed away September 23, 2016. He leaves behind his family, including his wife, daughters, son-in-law, and 2 beloved grandchildren who were the apples of his eye. Over his distinguished career in the snack food industry, he was wildly admired by his peers. 2 former Snack International chairmen remember him fondly. Mark Singleton of Rudolph Foods.
Rick's passion for making great snacks was only surpassed by his passion for being a great friend and even better family man. Leaders like Rick are the reason the Circle of Honor was conceived. So here's to you, buddy. You deserve this.
Tom Howe of Baptista.
I'm proud to say that Rick was my business associate, customer, supplier, and friend. It was nothing short of remarkable to observe his leadership at work as president of Utz, putting together a top-notch team of people and growing a business to fulfill his vision. Rick was the secret sauce. Congratulations, Rick, on this long overdue recognition. Your impact on the snack industry, Utz, and Snack is unsurpassed.
How might Rick react to being inducted into the Circle of Honor?
I think Rick would be honored because he was on the committees for selection in the past, and I think it was very sincere about who the committee would choose. It was very sincere effort. There was a quality about a person that was selected that was outstanding. You wouldn't be a candidate if there wasn't something that the association admired or respected.
He'd be humble, and what he would say was, it wasn't because of him. It was the people he was associated with, the people who surrounded him. So any honor he got, he always felt belonged to others, because it was never about Rick, it was about other people.
I think he'd be honored, but I think he'd be very humble about it. I think he would say there are probably more deserving people, but he would be very honored. It was an industry that his family pedigree was in the shoe business. His father was in the shoe business. He was in the shoe business. But I think this was an industry that he really grew to love, and love the people who were in it. So he'd be very honored.
For his contributions to the snack food industry, Snack International is proud to induct into the Circle of Honor Richard King.